Your
It's
job as a
not
comic
fair.
is to listen to audiences and to understand, to learn from their mistakes. And I see a lot of comics not doing that. I see
It's
Ricky
not
Gervais doing the same
fair.
transphobic jokes for year after year after year, or Dave Chappelle doing the same transphobic jokes year after year after year.
Hello everyone, and thanks very much for coming back and joining me. Now tonight I wanted to talk about Dave Chappelle's special that was on Netflix, and I don't know whether all of you have seen it or not by now, but if you enjoy my channel I massively recommend it. I can't recommend it enough. Now I did already do a review, and if you haven't got the chance to see my review of Dave Chappelle's Sticks and Stones, I will leave the link to my review in the video description. If you haven't seen it, I absolutely loved it. It was freaking well hilarious. And what I wanted to talk about tonight is the fact that I was watching a YouTube channel that some of you might have heard of. It's called The Young Turks. And I'm sure you can tell by the expression of my face, they're all freaking idiots and idiots and just stupid. One of the, interviewers or whatever, presenters or whatever they're supposed to be, was talking to a transgender. Now, of course, very controversial was this Dave Chappelle's Sticks and Stones. Well, the snowflakes anyway. Snowflakes are falling on their heads. Anyways, so he was talking about transgenders, he was talking about the LGBT community, and pretty much just tearing into the LGBT community, which is freaking well hilarious, because if they can't take a joke, then bog the frig off. Now, what I actually said in my review is exactly what this freaking well transgender said. I said in my review exactly what this transgender said, right? I said, anybody who took offence obviously doesn't know who Dave Chappelle is, doesn't understand him as a comedian, and also would have no interest in him. And they're probably, in the alphabet group anyways, as the way Dave explained it in this stand-up thing. That's what he called them as, right? They most likely have probably heard from someone, he was slagging us off, he was saying horrible things about the LGBT community, he was calling us alphabet people. Then they would have went and watched that part of the clip, skipped to it, watched it, turned it off, and then cried like a baby. And that's exactly what this transgender freaking well done. He actually said in The Young Turks YouTube channel, it's a YouTube channel, it's The Young Turks, and he actually said, the interviewer said, have you seen Dave Chappelle's Sticks and Stones? Because when I asked you before this interview, you'd said no. Have you had the chance to watch it since then?
You have not watched it since we talked.
I've not watched it. I've seen the excerpts that are about trans people. I haven't watched the whole special.
Yeah.
So your idiocy just proved that I was actually right. Then as well, they were pretty much sitting trying to say that it's repetitive, and that Dave Chappelle shouldn't be standing up there and telling repetitive jokes, and that if it's pretty much that it's a joke that's already been told, so what's he doing telling it?
I think if this were any other joke, if it was not transphobic, we would accuse the comedians doing it now of stealing it, because it's not a new joke. But for some reason, people just have infinite patience for doing the exact same transphobic joke again and again and again. And so part of me suspects that this is not, does anyone really find that joke hilarious anymore? It's almost more of this kind of stubbornness, it seems to me. Like they resent having been told not to make the joke, and so they're going to keep making it out of spite. But is that really funny? It's not. I don't think it's very funny. I think it's very tiresome. I think it's overplayed. I think it's unoriginal. And it kind of, you hate to see it from someone as fine a comedian as Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So if Billy Connolly gets up and tells a joke, then Eddie Murphy can't get up and tell that joke, the same joke, or in a similar way. Well, then comedians are going to have to sit down with a notebook, with a long list, and then write out jokes that have already been told. But then the hilarious part was, they then went on to say he shouldn't be telling, transgender jokes in general, because, it's very unoriginal, and pretty much that is, comedy writing's unoriginal. That's what I took from what they were saying anyway. He knows nothing about things like that. And then they went on to say, I watched this beautiful transgender woman on YouTube. And
trans YouTuber Gigi Gorgeous, who's this femme, beautiful trans woman, talks about how she had to go to a sperm bank for she's trying to have a baby, and being a woman in a sperm bank, that's hilarious. That's worth 10 minutes on stage as a comic, but that's not what Dave Chappelle's doing because he doesn't know about that. He doesn't know anything. All he knows is a meme from 2012, and it's just kind of disappointing as someone who enjoys comedy to see that that's the best we can come up with. Culture war that we're in right now, and I think politics often has a culture war around it. Like, political correctness might be the most important, like, dividing issue. As far as comedy, I agree with you that I think that the excesses of outrage online make it very difficult to be a comedian, because to be funny, you have to. What makes a lot of jokes funny is that they kind of sort of balance very delicately on a line between, the acceptable and the unacceptable, and the perverse and the weird. And it's hard to do that if you're worried that if you fall, the consequences will be really bad. But at the same time, yes, I think that part of your job as a comic is to listen to audiences and to understand and to learn from your mistakes. And I see a lot of comics not doing that. I see Ricky Gervais doing the same transphobic jokes for year after year after year, or Dave Chappelle doing the same transphobic jokes year after year after year. And that to me seems like their failure as a comic, right? It's their failure to really listen to their own audience. It's their failure to really make jokes in a thoughtful way. So I think everyone can stand to improve.
So you know what, Dave Chappelle? Hold the phone. I have an idea for you. This transgender clearly knows what they're talking about. So what you need to do is get a notebook out, give them a phone, and then write down all their jokes, and go to other transgenders and write down jokes, and then do that and see how well their jokes are perceived live on stage. That's clearly where Dave Chappelle's going wrong, guys. That is clearly why. But here's the thing. Even if he didn't tell any jokes at all about the LGBT community or transgenders, they still would have cried. Of course they would have, and I'm not talking nonsense, because let's face it, they'll cry no matter what. You cannot entertain them. There's not even, a middle way. Do you know what I mean? There's no even meeting in the middle. They would then go, I didn't like that Sticks and Stones. Why not? Because I watched the whole thing. And the reason why I watched the whole thing was to see if he brought up our community. You see, we're living in a time now where you should be accepting our community. So that's a big company, Netflix. Netflix should have had something in there, like a nice wee thing or something about us. And see if he had been talking about slagging off straight people the whole way through, they would have watched that show, and they would have been doing reviews on YouTube and saying how wonderful it was and how much they loved it. I can guarantee you. And they would have loved it. But they're just annoyed because he spent a good length of time telling jokes about them. And that's his job. It is his living, quite literally. He is a stand-up comedian. And they need to learn to stop being so snowflakey. They really, really do. But let me know what you think. I just wanted to come on and explain that stupidity from that usual stupidity anyway from the Young Turks. They're always, saying silly things. I remember I did a video a while back about the whole, Mario Lopez thing. Do you know what I mean? And let's face it, right? Here is the thing, another thing that I wanted to get to. They are actually reading, transgenders are going in and reading books and stories to kids in nursery schools. I don't know, in America I think they call it kindergarten or whatever. Because I'm thinking Kindergarten Cop, with Arnie. The movie, but they are actually doing that. This is actually a thing. This is actually happening. Young kids, and that scares me. That worries me. And you know who does fantastic videos on that? A friend of mine on YouTube, and his username's called Salty Cracker. And I know tons of you will already know because his channel's going crazy fast with subscribers, and he really, really deserves it. And he cracks me up. He's hilarious. Please go and search the YouTuber Salty Cracker. And he does videos about that whole topic, and he's just right. At the end of the day, it's messed up, but I don't know, guys. I just thought that this person was just so idiotic and trying to tell Dave what jokes as a professional comedian that he should be telling about transgenders. It's 1 minute saying he shouldn't be telling transgender jokes at all, pretty much, and then the next minute, oh, actually, you know what? I've thought of a good one. You should tell this joke. Oh, I don't know. Anyways, let me know what you think of this, and I will see you all in my next video, guys. And yeah, don't forget that the force will be with you always. Bye, guys.